Very good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to our celebration event. We're just going to wait just for a few minutes for all of our participants to join us. So if you can just sit patiently, and we'll actually start our celebration event in 2 or 3 minutes' time. I can see all of our participants beginning to arrive now. So very good afternoon to everybody. We'll still hang on just a few more moments and we'll just wait for a few more to join us this afternoon. So a very warm welcome to everybody that's joined us this afternoon for our celebration event. I just want to say a really warm welcome to everybody and thank you for being part of our audience to celebrate the end of year art show for our foundation art students. As you're well aware, this year has been a very challenging time due to the COVID virus, and students would normally be celebrating in college with their end of year art show, sharing their personal achievements with family and with friends. So today we're celebrating those achievements online in our virtual environment. This afternoon, we've got a panel of Foundation Art students who are representing the course. They're going to talk to you about their work and their aspirations for the future. And I just want to say all of the work that's been produced by students in the show this afternoon has been done during lockdown. And I'm personally extremely proud of all the work that they've done and what they've achieved. During the event, if you've got any questions for us, we'd be more than happy to answer those for you at the end of our presentation. So please jot down some of those questions in the question page at the bottom, and we'll come to those at the end of our event. So what is Foundation Diploma and what is it all about? So each year our foundation students come to Northampton College. It's a one-year course and it prepares them for their world in a career of art and design. So what we're going to do is that lovely creative year that we've just had, we're going to reflect on it. We're going to share with you some of the highlights and we're going to look at some of the personal stories. So as well as celebrating the achievements of the students, we're going to think about what they've done personally, and then we're going to enjoy at the end of the presentation this afternoon, launching the website that they've designed and produced themselves to view their own summer show. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you a virtual tour of our art department. One of the nice things when we normally have our show in college is that family and friends get the opportunity to have a walk around the studios and see where students have been learning, and we can't do that. So we thought we'd just take a couple of minutes to do a virtual tour and show you where we've all been learning for the first part of the year. So something that's really good in our foundation course is students produce a really wide range of different outcomes. The course is very, very diverse, and each student has their own personal learning journey. At the beginning of the year, students produce a wide range of different work, going to workshops, working with very specialist tutors. So they'll learn things from 3D, designing, print, surface pattern, fine art painting and drawing. They really explore lots and lots of different things that they've not had the opportunity to do before. They work in pairs, they work in groups, they work as individuals. There's a lot of emphasis on trying out different things, experimenting and exploring. We also push students to really think as well, and to develop their knowledge and understanding. So we get them to do lots of reading, lots of research. We try and open their minds to new ideas, new debates and new discussion, and get them to respond to that. And so the course is a really, really good diagnostic course that helps them choose the pathway they want to go onto at university, and helps them make some really good, healthy and sensible decisions about what's going to be the right learning journey for them. We're now going to start to speak to some of our students and find out a little bit about them and their work. So I'd like to introduce you firstly to Sophie. Good afternoon, Sophie.
Hello, hi Sophie.
Yeah, thank you very much for being part of the panel this afternoon. I really, really appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about your work.
So I'm Sophie and I came from A-levels last year, and I came as a very fine art based student. I was very much a painter and sort of 2D artist. So my journey through foundation has just been me sort of trying to push myself away from that sort of label that I'd put around myself, and I've pushed myself into more 3D work and have created this FMP.
So tell me a little bit about your final major project. You've designed some really interesting characters here. Who are they and what are they all about?
So I wanted to explore something quite personal in my FMP, and I wanted to sort of look into this thing that I've been experiencing throughout the project of sort of just being afraid to do something different and to push myself, and being afraid that what I created wouldn't be good enough. And I sort of felt this sense of trepidation around creation, and this being worried that I just couldn't create something as good as I created before. And I essentially just wanted to provoke this feeling through my work. So these characters are all supposed to make the audience feel slightly uneasy, and they all represent different aspects of how this sort of fear around failure can be really oppressive in an artist's work, and how it can really hold you back.
And I'm quite aware that you researched each of these characters in quite a lot of depth and developed quite a lot of kind of theoretical kind of practice and understanding around them. How did you go about kind of making decisions about how that research was going to help you with your ideas?
So yeah, research was a really important part of the project. I think I needed to look into how to actually convey this feeling that I wanted to convey. So I looked into a lot of artists that personally made me feel uneasy, but also had some sort of charm to it. So I looked into obviously Tim Burton, which I think a lot of people have said my work looks like, but also Edward Gorey and a few others. And it just really helped to look into how they've sort of done a similar thing. And I've had to really look into puppetry as well, to not only construct the figures but see how they work and how to create a successful one, rather than just, you know, like a little finger puppet. I had to really look into how to create one that would be effective.
So you did end up doing quite a lot of problem solving, particularly around your three-dimensional and your making. How did the early experimentation with 3D materials help you do that problem solving and resolve some of those issues in your final major project?
I think the problem solving, if anything else, it just really helped me create a more complex project. And I sort of initially had these ideas and knew how I wanted to create these figures, but then through problem solving I found different ways to make them in a more effective way. And their clothing, for example, I was just going to make all of them out of fabric, In the end, I decided to use different materials. For example, one of the dolls is made out of recycled like crisp packets and plastic bags, and that just made a much more interesting outcome, I think. And their clothes in the end all ended up representing something specific about their character.
That's lovely, Sophie. So tell me all about kind of next year and what you're hoping to do.
So next year I'll be going to Goldsmiths University in London, and I'll be doing the fine art there. So yeah, I'm really excited for that, just to carry on working. And I don't really have any set direction I want to go in. I don't know what I'll be doing, so I'm just really excited to go and see what happens.
Well, a really big thank you for all of your hard work and the contribution to the course. It's been an absolute pleasure to teach you, Sophie, and all the best and good luck for your future.
Thank you.
Yeah, really well done. So on to our next panellist is Zoe. Good afternoon, Zoe.
Afternoon, Sophie.
Oh, it's lovely to see you again, Zoe. So you've got some really exciting work here, which I know during lockdown you particularly involved your family in making. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, so my FMP was about how we find life through art, and obviously being in lockdown, it was going to be a struggle to do like the whole of humanity. So I sort of focalised it on my mum, and we kind of created stuff together as a family and explored it in that way.
That sounds brilliant. And I know there was one particular occasion where there was some activities going on in the garden and there was a really beautiful fine art painting created. So how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, so this was like a couple of weeks into lockdown, and I think we were all feeling like the lockdown blues, me, my brother and my mum. So I just sort of thought about getting out this big canvas that I hadn't used and getting all the acrylics I own and just getting all of us to splat as much paint as we liked onto it. And then it just was really therapeutic for us all, and I think it really shows the different dynamics in my household as quite playful and fun, but then the colours all represent different personalities as well. So yeah.
That's lovely. So if you reflect back on the course this year, what aspects of the course do you think have really helped your own practice as an artist?
I've really liked, a bit like Sophie, doing the more 3D work and stuff that I didn't get to do at A level, such as pottery. Pottery really helped me figure out that I'm probably more of a fine artist than I would have thought at the beginning of this course, alongside printmaking, because obviously that was something we weren't able to do at A level. It was just such a good new skill to learn. So yeah, it's probably more the stuff that you never thought you'd have the chance to do. You get the chance to.
And did you think the course really helped you make decisions about what you want to do at university, building on kind of your A-level experience?
It really did. At A levels, I didn't even think I wanted to go to uni. I just didn't have a very good experience with school at that time, and then I sort of came to this course to try and rekindle my love for art, and it made me realise that actually I do want to go uni just nearby, and I do enjoy art still. Like, it's definitely a passion of mine, not something that I feel like at A levels I was sort of forced to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, it definitely found my love again on this course.
It's really good to hear that how much you've enjoyed the course and how much it's kind of rekindled that kind of spirit. What aspects of the course did you also find really beneficial and really helpful?
We do something called Unit 6, which is where you're almost made to like research into the unis you're thinking about as a part of your project, and I found that really useful because it sort of just gave me a target of actually going out, getting the guidelines and looking into unis and going out to open days. And I think that really just helped encourage me go and look at unis, because before I probably would have just said like the easiest option and gone there.
Yeah. And so what are your hopes and aspirations for next year, Zoe?
So after looking at all local unis, because I knew I wanted to stay local, it was actually Northampton that I felt the most comfortable in and felt could offer me the right materials to continue exploring what I want to explore. And yeah, like I said, it's just near home, so I think it would suit my personality a lot better than going away.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you as a member of the course, Zoe. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and all the lovely things that you've done this year, and all the best for your future.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we're now moving on to Phoebe. Good afternoon, Phoebe.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi. Now, you came into Foundation through a very different route to the other students that studied at A-level. So tell me about your learning journey and why was it different?
Yeah, so I actually went to university straight out of A-levels. I went to Birmingham City University to study a fashion design BA, and then I ended up dropping out in about November for a number of different reasons. I think my mental health wasn't so good, and I didn't really like being away from home, and the course, I didn't feel like I was fully able to explore everything that I wanted. I wasn't ready to narrow down my creative kind of mind into one route yet. So I ended up dropping out, and then I actually worked as a teaching assistant for those with additional needs in a secondary school here in Northampton for the rest of the year. And that was a really rewarding experience, and something that's definitely helped me open up my mind for the future. But I didn't really want to stick with that straight away because I felt like I hadn't given myself the opportunity to fully explore my creative side yet. So I ended up applying for the foundation.
That's brilliant. And what aspects of the course have you found really helpful in helping you with that decision-making process and find out what kind of artist you really want to be and where you want to go in the future?
I think what I liked so much about the course at college was that you guys were all just so supportive in us doing whatever we wanted to do. And, you know, like, if you had a crazy idea, no one would be, you know, oh, Phoebe, I don't know about that. They'd be like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's look at that. Here's this artist. And it was just kind of like a really free, creative space where you had access to anything you wanted. You could do every concept you could think of, and people would just support you with it, which kind of helped make me realize that I actually don't want to narrow down yet, because I enjoyed that process so much. So it's made me kind of realize that I am more of a fine artist.
That's terrific. And I know that throughout the course, you spoke to me quite a lot about valuing the importance of the tutor and the tutoring. So are you able to tell us a little bit about that at all?
Yeah, so obviously I mentioned my struggling with my mental health as one of the main reasons that I left university. So coming to the course, I still wasn't quite mentally well, and there were some aspects that I did really struggle with, but you know, you guys as tutors were always on hand to help in any way you could, particularly Jane and Pete. I mean, I know that when we had the first kind of free-ish project, which was the second one in January, where we got the briefs and then we could kind of decide what we wanted and take it in our own direction. I had a really exciting concept, but mentally I wasn't quite in a place to be able to commit to it. So I was feeling really lost and really stuck, and I opened up to Pete about it, and he really helped me find a way to create that actually incorporated myself and my feelings, which is something that I'd never really done before. So I ended up creating quite abstract pieces with a lot of feeling and a lot of raw emotion, that I actually got really amazing feedback from not just the tutors, but everyone in the class was really supportive of me actually not being afraid to talk about these kind of things. And yeah, the feedback was really nice. So it broadened my horizons in terms of incorporating myself into my work more.
Phoebe, you've spoken lovely there about the course and about the support that you've had. So what are your hopes and aspirations for next year?
Yeah, so similarly to Zoe, I'm going to Northampton to do fine art, which I'm really excited with to have Zoe there as well. And again, I just kind of wanted to Not narrowed down yet. I wanted to keep on exploring and being encouraged to do so. And I think after, again, linking with being a TA, I think I would want to be an art teacher in secondary in the future. So, which is something I never thought that I would have done unless I'd have dropped out of uni. So everything happens for a reason, definitely. And I feel like really excited about uni in September, which is nice.
Well, that is such wonderful news, Phoebe, and I'm absolutely delighted that you found the right course for you. And I look forward to you being an art teacher in the future, and perhaps I'll be employing you in future as part of one of my teams. That would be really lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that's terrific. Well, all the best, and thank you for all of your hard work and everything that you've done this year. You know, it's been really, really appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right, so we're now going to move on to Charlene. Now, unfortunately, Charlene's had some technical issues and she's not been able to join us this afternoon, and that's a real shame, but you will be able to view Charlene's page on the website, and hopefully you'll enjoy looking at her work there. So we'll move on to Abby. Good afternoon, Abby.
Hi Sophie, you alright?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm so delighted you're all here this afternoon. It's such a lovely opportunity to share that joy with everybody and with our audience. So tell me a little bit about you and tell me about your lovely work.
So I came from A-level straight to foundation. I'd already applied to uni last year to do like an academic subject. So decided halfway through that wasn't going to be for me. So ended up applying for the foundation in March time. And started off really thinking that I was going to be a fine artist, really enjoying that side, and completely went in the opposite direction and have fallen in love with printmaking and graphic design. And next year, you know, moving on to do a graphic design course at uni.
That's fantastic. And what aspects of the course did you find kind of most challenging during the year?
I think the most challenging was the first project. Well, it wasn't really a project, it was like an activity we had to do. And it was the first week Jane came in and was like, we're going to put you in groups and you're all going to have to do, I think it was 20 drawings with no wet substances. So we could only use no pencils, no pens either. So we had to get really creative with using different types of paper and material. And we'd all only met, I think, for a few days, and we didn't really know each other. So that was very interesting to try and build up a group of people to make something, but I think that was so good for us all to just bond together so quickly.
And I think I've observed as a team, you've come together really well as a team, not just at college but during lockdown, and you formed some really strong bonds and some strong friendships. How's that helped you develop and grow as an artist, do you think?
I think having those strong bonds where you're not really having to argue with anyone or anything. Like if you need a photo shoot doing, there'll be someone that will be there to do it, or you can literally sit there at lunchtime with everyone around you and be like, this is my work, what do people think? And you can sit and have a look, and people will say things, because we've got some people that were doing games design is going to be doing games design at uni, all the way down to a fine artist, someone doing illustration, someone's doing like environmental course. So you kind of get everyone in the course, and we're all band together trying to do things. So it's really nice, and we're all in the same room, like, you know, bonding really.
That's really, really lovely. Now, I know you're using some of your now newfound passion for graphics to help kind of put together with the rest of the team some of these lovely images, but also it's helping you prepare for university. So tell us what some of those new challenges have been since you've been for interview.
I think since interview, they really looked at my website and my Instagram really like heavily, because they ask you for an art Instagram and a website. And also afterwards coming back, I knew that I didn't know how to use Photoshop very well, and I didn't know how to use InDesign. And so during the lockdown, that was my one thing that I gave myself to do with this project. The final project was to learn how to use Photoshop and InDesign. And I did want to throw my computer out of the window multiple times, but I did get back to it and really did like enjoy it. And I think having that time during lockdown to just sit down and do it without anyone else being around made me have to learn it, if that makes sense. And
Absolutely.
Sit down and really look at all the YouTube videos that I possibly could to get the outcomes that I wanted. So that was really interesting to me to work out how I learn as well, because you don't get that.
And I think it's been fascinating for me, the extent to which everybody's been teaching each other, helping each other, learning new skills in these kind of remote settings. That's been really interesting for me as a teacher, kind of watching, observing how effectively you've all done that actually.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to watch each project grow, because usually when you're at college, you'd all be together and seeing everyone make stuff everywhere. But this time it's like, oh, okay, you went down that avenue, you just don't see it, and it's quite interesting to learn what people did.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now, Abby, is start to take a look at the foundation website, and you're going to start giving us a little tour around the website and giving our audience a bit of an insight in terms of what lovely things they've got to look at when they visit there after our presentation.
Yeah, so we all did a website instead of an end of year show, obviously because we couldn't because of COVID. So everyone was given their own page to do. I put some sections in of sort of rough design stuff that people could use, and everyone kind of designed and went to town how they wanted to. And I think it's turned out really well. We've got a front page as our portfolio page, a bit about the foundation, and then every single one of the people that was on our foundation has got a page.
Yeah, so let's see if we can, Amy, are we able to have a look at the front page? There we go. So Abby, you tell us all about it.
So there's 4 photos from each artist on there. As you can see, there's some of Sophie's work there. You can see Phoebe in the corner. And each of them, if you click on them, you can go to whoever's one you likes page. So if you click on one there, it can show you, you can say like go to someone's page or whatever, and it says like go to my page. And you can click and have a look. But I think it's been a very interesting experience for me to try and put the website together personally, because I know that I've never done anything like this before with a group of people. I've done my own private website, but I've never done anything for anyone else. But also there's like the toolbar at the top. If we want to, we can have a look at some of the work. So if we go to George's, if you have a look, so George's work was a big internal project for her. I think it was very big on like looking at gender identity between what she's perceived as and what people think of her, and it's quite nice. It's beautiful work, honestly. Creating that in a bedroom, you know, putting yourself out there was really amazing. And the colour blue is definitely George's thing. Blue's everywhere in her life, really. And I think, you know, she really did push herself in this project to look at how things are perceived. I mean, now she's shaved her head, so that's another added on to be like people looking at her and thinking like kind of what gender spectrum does she fit on. But I think the work is amazing and beautiful, and the way that she did it, putting bin bags in front of her windows to try and get the lighting that she did in this photos was incredible. And I definitely think during lockdown people have had to get creative more than anything with how they've put things together.
Yeah,
you know?
Abby, I do agree with that. I know sort of when I met with each of you guys for those tutorials, and we were trying to kind of as a team kind of problem solve and work out how you can use your bedroom as a studio and what you needed to do to try and prop things up and make things work. I think that's been really good. Who else's work shall we take a look at this afternoon?
Then Fee's work, if that's okay. Her work is beautiful. The illustrations that she does is incredible. Like if you scroll down on her page, she does some work all about mental health and raising awareness of people's mental health and their escapism, where they create like a space that they will go in their mind, and they're beautiful. Honestly, I need some prints of her work to go up in my room. But she learned completely how to do this by herself, and the way that she does it honestly is beautiful. I believe she's going to do graphic and illustration in Cambridge next year. And honestly, some of her work is beautiful. The next person I'd like to have a look at is Naomi. She did a very personal project for her own work, all about her scars. She says on the page, she says, I've never been ashamed of it, meaning her scars. It tells my story, which is her primary response to it all. And I think that is a really interesting way to look at things. Her work is beautiful. As you can see, she does a lot of sewing. And honestly, some of the work that is produced during this lockdown is crazy. And halfway down her page, there is a video of her making her own paper, I believe, and learning how to make her own paper. I'd love to let her teach me how to do that as well. So I think, you know, everyone's kind of got creative in their own way. I definitely would say go have a look at all the different avenues that are on there, because we've got games design, pattern printing, everything. everyone's gone off in their own little directions, really.
I think it's been lovely for me to see how diverse the projects became at the end, and seeing how effectively everybody was problem solving and trying to work out how to use the resources, particularly in the early part of lockdown when you couldn't get out and you couldn't go and buy the things that you needed to buy, and actually being very resourceful. I know Naomi was exceptionally resourceful, working with bin bags and using things around the home to do her textiles work, and I really admired her for doing that. That was absolutely brilliant as well. Yeah,
I really think
good.
in this lockdown we've had to just get creative and look around the house for things. Like, I know I bought a screen printing set and I've done some screen printing, but I've seen so many people just use bits they've got around the house and just made stuff which, you know, you would think, oh, just go get another roll of whatever, but they've actually had to find it during this lockdown, which I think has really helped every single person during this like process.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've got some images here that were taken of the foundation course before lockdown that you've put on the website with the rest of the team, and so in there's some of the workshops, some of the trips that you've been involved with, and some of the other activities. So I think it's a really good time now to go to Alex and say, have we got any questions from our audience for the students this afternoon?
Hello, yes, my name's Alex. I work in the marketing department at the college. We've had a couple of questions come in today, so I'm just going to go through those. If you do think of anything else you want to ask, if you just pop it in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, then hopefully I'll be able to read them all out. So the first question is from Lauren. She says, I'm joining Northampton straight out of GCSE, so I've never done A-levels. Will that hold me back? Sophie, would you be able to take that question for me, please?
Absolutely. Definitely not doing A-levels won't hold you back at all. If you're coming straight from GCSE, you'll do with us a level 3 course in art and design, or in one of the specialist areas that you're interested in. So based on the qualifications that you get for your GCSEs will depend on whether we put you on a level 2 course or on a level 3 course. So we always, with all the students, try and make sure we get you onto the right course to meet your own learning needs and for your own learning journey. We run specialist pathways within the department, as well as having more general art and design courses. So if you've made an application and you've got an offer on a particular course, if at any time over the summer you want to change that, or you want to have some more help and advice and support on that, we can give you a call and we can answer some more of those questions for you.
Lovely, thank you very much, Sophie. We've had another question here from someone called Ella, and Ella has asked a question for Phoebe. She said, your work is incredible. I'm particularly curious as to how you managed to capture the spark of light in your photo and what it represents.
Okay, so hello Ella, by the way, thank you so much, that's so nice. So I basically, so I made like a fire kind of pit in the garden in like an old kind of bin, and basically I set up my camera on my tripod on the other side, and I really zoomed in and I put it on a really slow shutter speed on sports mode on my Canon. I've got a Canon, which means that and I set a timer, and then on sports mode it takes more than one image, and because of the slow shutter speed it's able to capture sparks, but rather than looking like sparks they kind of look like lines. And that whole photo shoot was kind of the penultimate shoot of my project, and my whole project was basically symbolizing Alice in Wonderland, which is a story that I love, but through relating the characters and the experiences and that kind of world of Wonderland to my own mind. So with that last shoot, I kind of compared myself to a phoenix in a way, because I looked into a lot of folklore to do with my research, and one of the key symbols of folklore is the phoenix, and how, you know, they come out of the ashes and they're reborn into someone who is so much stronger and so much more beautiful on the other side of all that trauma. So that's kind of what that last shoot symbolised for me.
Lovely, thank you so much, Phoebe. I hope that was helpful feedback for you, Ella. I've got a question for Sophie, again from Ella. What was the most technically challenging aspect of creating your amazing puppets? Were some easier to put together than others?
Oh, thanks for the comment. I think the most challenging part was making the clothes for me, because that's just something that I have probably the least experience in, and I knew exactly how I wanted them all to look, and I made these complex sort of outfits for all of them, and it got to making them and I just thought, I can't do this. But it was fine, you know, I just had to keep on trying different ways and stopping and coming back to it, and it worked out in the end. But that was definitely the most difficult and most frustrating part.
Well, it seems like you made a way around that, because they look fantastic. I think the work you produce at the end just looks amazing, so well done. Next question, what did you enjoy the most about the course? And that's for Zoe.
I think what I enjoyed most about the course whilst I was there was the beginning, because we basically just got to explore all the different avenues you could go down, but with the teachers' help alongside us. So it was very educational, and I didn't feel like I was lost because I had such great help from my peers and my tutors, and it was just really broadening my horizon. That was probably my favourite part, yeah.
Excellent, thank you very much. Another question now for Abby. Do you have any advice for students that are looking to start the course?
I'd go in with an open mind. Forget everything you did in A-level. I was very much a fine artist, painter. Really, I did a massive sunset painting with buildings for my last project in A-level. Just kind of going with an open mind and give everything a try. That's the biggest thing that I can say, because you're going to be thrown in every single direction that you don't even think you can possibly do, all the way from being in the dark room in the photography studio all the way to making your own paintbrushes. It's an experience you will never forget, doing those type of things, and it's something that you will always look back on and take forward as well. So just take everything in your stride and really try.
Fantastic. I think that's really, really great advice. Thanks very much, Abby. I've just got a couple more questions, and then I think we're going to sort of run out of time. So a quick question for Sophie again. What are your plans after university?
So like I said before, I'll be going to Goldsmiths University and do fine art, and I'm not sure what direction I'm going in. I'm not really working towards any sort of career at the moment, but I have thought in the last year that going into the film industry is possibly something I want to do, and look into set design and prop design and things like that. So that's something I'll possibly work towards, but who knows.
Brilliant, thank you. Another question from Alan. He says, I'll be studying level 1 next year and wonder what are the opportunities I get at the college. That's a question for Sophie.
Yeah, so level 1 is a really, really good course because it enables you to actually start your learning journey with us on your career to art and design. So each of the UAL courses are built from level 1 right the way up to level 4, and then they either lead you onto university or onto the world of work. So you start off with a really kind of broad base of education in art and design, and then as you move through, you've got choices to make. You can keep that broad base and keep your learning broad and keep your learning journey really open-ended. Or as you work through the courses, you can say, well, actually, I've got a real passion for a particular area in art and design. It might be fashion and clothing, it might be photography, it could be for something like interiors or architectural design. And so then you can specialise in those areas as you move through the courses. And it's been a great pleasure for me to see some of our current level 3 second years are moving on to university this year. And they started at Northampton College when I started, and they started on their level 1 courses, and they've worked right right the way through, and they're off to university in September. So it's a really good opportunity to develop the skills that you need to have a really, really good career in the future.
Lovely, thanks very much, Sophie. I'm just going to close with what's actually a comment that's been left as opposed to a question by Jake Zelkovich, who's actually one of our assistant principals at the college. And he said that he's so amazed by the diversity of work and the inspirational talent on show. He wants to send his congratulations to all of the students. He wishes you all the success in the future. And he says many thanks to the teaching team. Obviously, Sophie, thanks to you as well. So that's a lovely comment. I think that concludes our Q&A. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand you back to Sophie now for a few final words.
So I'm just going to spend a moment just before we kind of hand you over to the actual websites to have a look at as just some final concluding thoughts. So we're drawing now to the close of our celebration this afternoon, and I do want to take the opportunity to thank all of the students particularly for their hard work, dedication and resilience over the past few months. I've been incredibly proud of what they've achieved and the quality of the work they've developed, particularly remotely at this time. I think it's just been absolutely incredible. I think the lockdown has taught us all an awful lot. We've had to update our IT skills. We've had to learn in a different way. I think people have found personal self-determination and courage to succeed. I've seen students, not just the students here on screen today, but a lot of our students, problem solving and finding new ways to be creative and to engage in learning through their very own personal learning journeys. And through that, they've overcome mental health issues, all kinds of different issues they might have had at home. And they've used art as a therapeutic experience to kind of guide them through this difficult time. What I've really been impressed with is the extent to which students have helped, guided and supported each other. They've been teaching their friends new skills, offering advice and encouragement. They've demonstrated just how much they care about their own education, its value and the importance that it's going to enable them to progress in their own future. So these are a few comments now for the girls in terms of how you move forward. What's the new educational landscape going to look like for you at university? What's it going to look for us like at college? And I would urge all of the students, you know, to move on with their learning journey, to kind of keep alert, to keep your focus on learning and to keep growing in new experiences, not just now, but for the rest of your life. Really, please try and do that. Keep that inquiring, open mind, asking questions about the world around you. We've tried to do that on foundation, and I urge you to keep with those skills as you go forward, and always make sure in everything that you do, you're making that positive contribution to society, because I can see how that's been important to you over the past few months. Continue, please, to help and support each other, and don't forget to strive to be exceptional. That's one of the things we really push at the college. We want you to do your very best, whatever your starting point, and that for me would be my mantra. Please continue to strive to be exceptional in everything that you do. It's now time for all of our viewers to view the art shows and to enjoy the lovely work that's been produced in our lockdown shows. And that just a reminder that a lot of the work here has been produced, if not all of it, during lockdown, and how truly exceptional that is. We've got shows now for the foundation exhibition and also for our other courses at Northampton College. So my concluding comments is thank you to everybody for attending this afternoon. It's been a very special event, and goodbye, and hopefully I'll see some of you again in the future very, very soon. Bye-bye.